Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Pause the video right now to check out my social media, my radio show, and thatdrummerguy.com. And most of all, enjoy the following presentation.
Hello, Josh. This is Al Joseph.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much for taking time to do this interview.
Hey, no problem at all. No problem.
Oh, awesome. Well, of course, we're here to talk about the brand new debut from Hyvmine, Earthquake, which just came out back in January through Seek and Strike. I've had the album since the end of 2017, and I've really been able to digest it since then, and I absolutely love what you guys have done with this album. I love the style, I love the technicality that goes into it without losing any of the melodicness and all the best parts of what makes a song stand out. I mean, you guys just absolutely nailed it on this album.
Man, thanks so much, man. I really appreciate that.
Oh, not a problem. So, to start things off, how did this whole band come together?
Well, this is actually kind of the brainchild of myself and my manager, George Valley. And, I actually did all the production and recording and stuff like that on the album. But shortly after kind of listening to it and coming to the conclusion that we could actually make something out of this, we decided to get a band together. So the guys that I picked were pretty much the best I could think of at the moment. And so far, it's been pretty cool. Except the drummer, we kind of moved on and we're looking for a new drummer right now. But we're just we're in the process of just making this a real thing.
And that makes me happy to hear that too, because I mean the songs on here, I mean they're so catchy, there's so much melody and harmonies that's going on there. I mean the technical proficiencies that's going on there, I mean just like everyone just stands out so well on this album, and being able to see this go further, it's very exciting to hear that.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm excited to do it, man. We just recently had a show over at the Sly Bar with Intervals, and it's just so cool to see this thing come to fruition.
And how was that? I mean, with the Intervals, depending on their lineup, whether they are an instrumental band or they are touring with full vocals, I mean, how was it playing a show with Intervals?
It was cool. It was really great. Aaron is a guy that shows a great deal of support for my work, and I show a good deal of support for his work. So it actually worked out pretty organically. Just everywhere from meeting up in the beginning of the show till after the show, just sharing some support, some supporting words. It was just really peaceful. It was cool.
And with that, how was the crowd reception at that show?
It was surprisingly good. I mean, we had almost a packed house for our set, and for being an earlier set, we were really surprised to see the turnout. And I gotta say, the energy from the crowd and just the when I'm getting a good vibe from the crowd, especially as a frontman, that definitely helps my mood. And I gotta tell you, I just felt super relaxed in front of the crowd and super supported. And above all, it was just a very positive vibe. There was a lot of great energy, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that makes me so happy to hear that too. I mean, especially when you are starting something like this too. I mean, when you're pretty much the brainchild behind all of it, and you're the one that's fronting the band, you're the one that's creating the music, whether it's vocally or through the guitar, and just like being able to control the band and speaking out to the crowd. I mean, when you're in that comfortable state and you're able to put on the best show possible, I mean, that's such a great feeling.
Yes, absolutely, man. It was great.
So with that, I mean, of course, with focusing with this album, and of course not headlining, but how did you go about picking out a set when it comes to something like that?
Well, we really want to start the show off strong, but we don't want to play our strongest card quite yet, and that was Shogun, and we saved that one till last. So we just want to start out strong enough, to get everybody riled up. Everybody got everybody with their beer in hand and just getting ready to party. And then I don't know, I tend to like the set to flow just like an album. It starts out powerful, it builds, and then we kind of have with a slower song, and then we kind of ramp it back up and then finish it off super strong. So whatever songs we feel fit that mold, given the time slot that we're given, we tailor it to that.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense too. I mean, sometimes you only get 25 45-minute set. Sometimes you get a full headlining slot. I mean,
Right.
it always varies like that. So being able to have like all of those options available to you, I mean, it always helps.
For sure. Absolutely.
So with that, I mean, when you're basically, how much work was it to be able to come up with these ideas and record them to the studio, and then being able to flesh them out into a live setting?
Well, it was a lot. It was a lot of work. You know, we started back in I want to say October. You know, with the concept, and then George had already had me kind of thumb through the songs that I had written instrumentally for my instrumental record. You know, and Shogun was the first one, I'll say, that it was tough at first because, again, it was an instrumental song and just putting vocals to it kind of ripped my heart out a little bit, but I'm open to trying anything, and you know what? I'm so glad I did that. And from then on, it was just very smooth. You know, it was like, okay, I get how we're going to do this. I get the direction. It's actually bringing a lot of my old influences back, and it was just very smooth, man, from top to bottom. You know, it took a lot of time, but it was fun. It was fun, and it was very eye-opening for me as well, because for so long I saw myself as an instrumental guy, a guitar guy, and I'm just getting right back to, you know, being the front man, being the singer of the band, being the guitar player of the band, you know, fronting the band. It's just, it feels right. It feels like my lane, you know, because that's what I grew up doing. So, it felt great all the way through.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too, because when I listened to the album, I mean, the vocals feel so natural and so smooth when it's matched up with the riffs and just the song structure in general. I mean, knowing that some of these songs were just like originally meant for just instrumental, I mean, it's awesome to see that you're able to construct these songs and be able to make them work out with some vocals on top of it and make it seem like it was meant to be there in the first place.
Yeah, I think that that's the way, you know, because I had done it for so long, and it just happened to be by accident that I became a guitar guy. It just seems like when I go back now and listen through my two instrumental albums, that I was always writing for the singer, you know, and so putting vocals on it just tied the songs together that much more, you know, and that's probably why they sound so much fuller now.
And with that, I mean, obviously with trying to come up with the idea of how you want the band to sound, what style you want to be going for, was there like a particular song or a riff or anything that stuck out to you where you realized that this was the direction you wanted the band to go in?
I gotta say, you know, like I said, you know, when Shogun was finished and I sent it over to my manager, and we just kind of sat down, took a breather from everything, and just listened to it. That was definitely an aha moment. You know, that was definitely a moment where I really felt like, okay, you know, this is what we need to be doing. You know, so when it comes to my influences like Korn, you know, all the late '90s, early 2000s bands, you know, I'm just so happy now because that gets to come out now more instead of me trying to, I guess, appease my guitar virtuoso peers. You know, now I just get to write for the sake of writing and kicking ass. You know.
Yeah, and that's so very important. I mean, and not just for like a fan base, not just for trying to make a career, but for yourself. I mean, writing the songs that you want to make. I mean, whether it's something for Hyvmine, whether you go back and do another solo album, I mean, whatever the case is, I mean, always just making sure that you're writing the music that you want to make.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this is, I'll tell you what, this is definitely going to help the instrumental side too, because I'm working on a third solo record right now, and you know, in my mind, pretty much. But it's I don't know. It's just a nice release. You know, when you're writing instrumental stuff for 4 years, it just gets like you get really pressured because you know everyone's trying to take it to the next level. Everybody's trying to be the next guitar hero, and this is just a very good way of shifting my perspective to just caring more about casting a wider net and influencing as many people as possible in the world in a positive way. And definitely having a singer in the band is just the best way to do that, and it really helps me also focus the point of the song, and really get all my emotions out vocally. So yeah, it's awesome.
Oh yeah, and just being able to have those kind of outlets to be able to do that too. I mean, whether it's something's more simple and you feel like there's gonna be some vocal melodies, you can save that for Hyvmine. Whether it's something you want to be like over the top shredding or trying some like a new guitar ideas that may not always work with vocals, you can save that for your solo material. I mean, being able to have those kind of outlets out there. I mean, it's so healthy when it comes to the creative mind.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you pretty much nailed it. Yep.
So with that, I mean, being able to have Hive Mind into a live setting, how much has that changed for you when it comes to the band? Like as far as what you've been learning, having the live setting from the band.
I always compare it to playing, instrumental stuff at NAMM, right? It's always been a little weird for me, because it's just you there with a guitar playing to a backing track. And it's very easy to get into the mindset of proving you can play something. Whereas when you're on the stage with a live band and the audience wants one thing, they want your energy. They don't want your perfect notes and all this extra stuff. You know what I mean? They want your personality, and I feel way more comfortable on stage with actual human beings on stage. Up there with me. So it's the focus, I guess, has, from my in the whole aspect of my life, I'm definitely going to be focusing more on the Hive Mind stuff, more on being a personality, more on sharing energy with the people, and I'm not going to care too much about my homework, showing them what my guitar work is, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, and obviously there are musicians out there that do focus way more on being able to make sure that every single note is right when it comes into a live setting, but for the average fan, for the ones that go to the show, they just want to have that energy there. I mean, if you want to hear something note for note, there's always going to be the album that's available, but for that live setting, you want to have that live feel to it. You want to see the musicians being able to play, and you want to see them have fun doing it.
Exactly, yeah.
So, obviously with that, I mean, of course you said you're currently on the lookout for a new drummer to be able to take place for Hive Mind, but once that gets settled in, I imagine that there's going to be more live shows that's going to be lined up in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. We're trying to set up some tours right now, and get on some tours, and my manager's going through all his connections, and we'll have something worked out hopefully by May, and just be on the road and just show people who we really are, outside of the album. And we're going to be, we're a band. We're just trying to play as much as humanly possible,
Yeah, and that's another thing I really appreciate about what this band is all about, is it feels like you guys would be able to adapt to so many different situations and tours. I mean, with the style that you guys play, I mean, whether it's something more melodic or something that's more technical or something that's features heavy on guitars or instrumental, I mean, it seems like you guys would be able to adapt to so many great situations and be able to fit in just right.
Yeah, that's what we've been told so far by some pretty key people in the industry at the moment, and that's the feedback that we've been getting. And I just feel really proud to hear it, because like I said, I did write, arrange, and produce this whole thing, and it just feels good to know, to have that affirmation that you're on the right track.
And with that, I mean, obviously with having all of these great creative outlets for your playing, do you switch up your guitar or setup or anything when you go from your solo material to Hive Mind?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's about, tuning down the songs, because, even though I did sing on the record, you're singing piece by piece, and when it comes to singing live, it's a lot more strain on your voice. So all we pretty much do is tune down a whole step, or the live show. It's the same music, just tuned down a whole step, and I'm using different guitar, a different guitar for that as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it, really. I mean, same rig as I would for an instrumental set, just a different guitar with a different tuning. That's it.
Yeah, that's, it's great to be able to adapt like that. I mean, with what you're able to accomplish on record, I mean, when I imagine hearing it in a live setting and having it feel a little fuller with it being more down-tuned, being able to match the vocals more, and just being able to have that heavier set to it. I mean, I just imagine when it's being played live, it's just going to sound absolutely killer.
Oh yeah, I was very surprised to hear the sound, off the stage for the first time, and just seeing the look on people's faces. It was people were really feeling that energy. Like you said, there's more punch when you tune down, and there's more growl. So yeah, there was just so much attitude on the stage because of that.
And with being able to adapt to all these different kinds of situations and being able to, I mean, whether it's a down tuning for the live sets or being able to add vocals to Hyvmine or being able to focus more on other stuff when it comes to solo work, how are you currently feeling about like the current stance of like hard rock and metal in 2018?
I feel it's very positive. It's just that, in my humble opinion, we just need to focus on connecting with our fans, and it's really hard to do that. If we're talking about instrumental, it's very hard to do that unless the fans are themselves instrumentalists, they're musicians. And right now in my career, I'm not getting any younger. It's about time to start casting a wider net and, getting a lot, covering that whole spectrum of our music. We want girls at our concerts, you know what I mean? And not just guys standing there watching what we're doing with our fingers. We want people interacting and throwing down and throwing their bodies and just getting into it and giving people a great live experience. So I just think if bands focus more on that, the metal community will be saved. I mean, for lack of a better way of putting it, it'll be sustainable.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more with that. And again, that brings me back to what I was saying earlier. What I love so much about this band is that you are able to show off what you're able to do instrumentally, but you're also able to have those riffs that are so memorable, so catchy, so melodic, and great harmonies that are going on with there. I mean, it's just a little bit of something for everybody, and it feels natural at the same time, which is really something hard to be able to pull off, but you really did it.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, man. I mean, it's all about the melody. I already have the itch to play crazy stuff. I mean, that's already. I mean, as soon, when I first heard Joe Satriani back in the day, Steve Vai, all those guys, I definitely caught the bug, and I trust that. So what I do is I just emphasize the melody as much as possible, and I feel like the technicality just comes out naturally. I just allow it to do that. So that's how I get it. That's how I get that done.
So, in speaking of that, I mean, obviously with songwriting and being able to have all these different outlets, like when you're able to just like sit back and play on your guitar, like what do you focus on now?
Oh, when I'm practicing?
Yeah.
Right now, actually, it's pretty funny that you bring that up. So for Jam Track, I'm actually working on a workout video that you can play along to, and I actually tailored it to myself because I know there's things that I need to really, really hone in on and work on. And it's a 3-hour workout. And it's a nonstop thing. And it's funny because, as a kid, I'm just focusing on trying to execute the technique, right? But now that I'm older, now that I've kind of mastered those things, I'm actually focusing on more intricate things like thumb placement and grip and just making sure that I'm extra relaxed when I practice. And that's the kind of muscle memory I'm trying to integrate into my playing a little bit more so that I don't have to focus so much on it when I'm on stage. So, yeah.
Oh, that is so cool that you're going about doing it that way. I mean, being able to focus on those workouts and just not just only being able to show other people what you do to practice, but being able to also help yourself too, making sure that you're constantly learning and making sure that you're up to snuff on everything that you've done so far.
For sure, and it makes things a whole lot easier when it comes to writing music. I've been finding lately that I've been kind of running out of ideas, and I take some time to search myself, and I just realized that, wow, I'm practicing, but I'm kind of going through the motions. When you stop discovering things, that's when things start getting stale. So I decided to, make my practice routine a little bit more vigorous, but still the content a bit more fundamental. That way I can focus more on the intricacies of, my technique and how I just use my body to play these ideas, and that's actually opening up a whole nother spectrum of ideas for my songwriting,
With that, I mean, is there any examples of that since you got reinvigorated like this?
Yeah, it's like, to give an example, I'll paint it like this. Before I was really, really, really into kind of creating lines with my mind, with my voice. And it's cool to do it because you get this really vocal type of lyrical sound to your playing. The only issue is that it starts to not get fun fun when you're playing things that aren't really comparable to the way the guitar is set up, you know? So refunnel those ideas in more of a guitar kind of way. I know it may sound weird to people, but I don't know. I'm just using I'm going back to like the original literature of like guitar lines, I guess I would say, and then kind of putting my extra spin on that rather than trying to force myself to come up with something that I think is wild or new or sexy, whatever it is, you know? So I don't know, just having that fundamental mindset and writing guitar that way, it's just making life a bit easier for me, you know, as a songwriter.
And with that, going back into the current album, I mean, how did you approach things when it came into like the production side when it came to all that?
Well, I wanted to definitely reference, Korn, their Paradigm Shift album is definitely the sound I was going for. You know, that just round bottom, crystal highs, and just I just wanted to, because like I said, I redid some of the songs, so obviously I had to remix a lot of them, and I wanted it to sound like a record, you know, not like an instrumental project album, you know. And when it came to mixing it, I did get a bunch of new plugins, so that helps. I just wanted a round bottom, you know. I wanted it to sound good in the car. I wanted it to sound good on the stereo, everywhere pretty much. So I just worked really hard on getting that.
Yeah, and that's one great thing that really does stand out when you're able to produce your own material, is when you do have that vision. You are, especially when you know what you're doing behind the boards and the computer or whatever the setup is, you know, just like knowing what you're looking for and being able to get that sound just the way you want it to.
Yeah, it's tough, because you don't know what these, big time producers are doing, but you do your best, to try to get, there's a lot of going back and waxing through it, but I try to always have a reference mix, in my DAW when I'm mixing, just to make sure I don't get too off track, especially when it comes to being a perfectionist. You can work on a song forever if you're given that amount of time. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it was also the art of knowing where to put a stop, and just say, hey, the project's finished. This is as good as it's going to sound. And just put it out and get some actual feedback for some people, So I have some good ears on it, so that definitely helped the process.
Background that there's a lot of great reviews and stuff that has been going on for the album.
Yeah, I mean, my manager's been sending it out to everyone that he can, and we've just gotten nothing but positive feedback, from people like yourself, and we're just really floored by that. We really appreciate it, we just want it to be listenable. We want people to enjoy it, and not have a headache by the end of the record,
Yeah, and it's just like, again, I can't say it enough. I love everything that has gone on with this album. I mean, with being able to hit like so many great aspects of what I really look for in a band and in an album, and just like hitting all those cylinders.
Yeah, dude, that feels great to hear. That's exactly what I was going for.
Yeah, and just like with already having this, with everything that you've been able to accomplish with this album, and I just imagine once the drummer aspect comes into play and you guys are able to get some more shows and touring that's going in there, that the next album is just going to be able to expand upon it so much more. But of course, keeping the sound of what you're wanting to go for, but just being able to expand even more.
Yeah, I mean, right now what we have in the works is we have an EP that we're going to do, and this one's going to be pretty much a really long, like, change of seasons type of song, and we're gonna have two really cool like acoustic tunes on it, and we're gonna use that opportunity to see how crazy we can get. And of course, when it comes to writing the album, the next one, we're gonna again just bring it through that same filter. I want everybody to be able to listen to it, your mom, your dad, your grandfather, your grandmother, whoever, to be able to listen to it. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do a little bit of experimenting with this EP that we have planned for March. We're going to start working on it. And yeah, we're just going to see where it goes from there. But expect a lot of crazy notes on that one. We're just going to get it all out.
Now you just got to wait for the opportunity to be able to have that longer set so you're able to play that one live.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, right now, like I said, we're doing it for the sole purpose of kind of getting that bug out, you know, because I mean, again, you know, like I said, I got the bug of wanting to play the craziest thing, you know, and but this will be the first time that we write together, so we want it to be really free and unhindered, and just kind of let it all out. And then by the time it comes to doing the full-length album, you know, we would have matured as a group together from a writing and arranging perspective.
Oh, that no! As a new fan, that makes me so excited to be able to hear that. I mean, just the fact of being able to experiment like that, being able to expand upon the sound that you have, and of course, having fun while doing it as well. I mean, being able to explore all these great different opportunities. I mean, whether it is touring, whether it is putting out an epic EP like is going to be coming up, or when it comes to the next full length, and being able to take all of these ideas and expand upon them for a full LP. I mean, it's a really exciting time as a fan, and I can imagine for yourself, it's even more exciting just being able to do all this, getting all the great notoriety that you guys have been doing, and being able to just expand upon the band.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like I'm very curious to see what the guys that we have, you know, like my brother, for example, you know, we grew up writing together all kinds of stuff, being in the Dream Theater and all that. And I'm just very excited to see, you know, how we interact with new guys, you know, with to us, they're new guys. You know, we grew up playing together our whole lives, but to us, having some new blood in there and just kind of like seeing what happens with our ideas and how we've matured over the years that we haven't been playing together. It just makes it that much more exciting for me.
Oh, that's so great to hear that. And I just gotta say it again, thank you so very much for taking the time to be able to talk to me about everything that you got going on, whether it's your solo work, whether it's Hyvmine, being able to like get into the great details about the production work, what you're doing on guitar, upcoming plans. You know, it's just like, it's so great to be able to see all this. I mean, with the amount of work that you've been able to do so far, and you know, just like myself, I'm glad to see so many people are enjoying what you're doing and being able to either experience it live or just on the record. You know, just like seeing where you're going to be going from here, and all these great aspirations that you got going on. I can't wait to see where you guys are going to be going next, and I just wish you nothing but the best, because I love what you've done so far, and I just know it's going to get bigger and better from here on out.
Well, hey man, thanks for the support. I'm so glad you dig the album. It really means a lot. And yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for bringing me on, man. All this helps. You know, we just want everybody to get the music. We want to get our music to everybody. We want to touch everybody and inspire people. So, yeah, man, thanks for having me.